And we welcome you to another edition of This is Wrestling. It is the one and only, the winner of the TIW Fantasy Draft already after just days of it being released, Lee Versage, along with the Zote. Who, what, how, what is going on with the Zote? Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you who's joining us here on This is Wrestling. You might know him as Hornswoggle. You might know him as Zach McGibbon. But from now on, at least from me, he is the Zote. And what is the Zote? It's like the goat, except he is the Zote, the Zach of all trades. Zach McGibbon, the Zote. What is going on?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Versage. Who knew that a little bit of banter before recording would lead to such a brilliant idea that we had to get it out onto the show? And I could hear some people, the Zote is calling him the Zach of all time. Like what's going on there? No, it's the Zach of all trades, because I'm doing a lot of things, a lot of different things, to try and fill my obligations and try and contribute as best as I can. So now we are going with the Zote.
The Zote. And you know what? It's going to catch on. The Zach of all trades. Because you're here on This is Wrestling. You're able to edit and produce the show. You work for CJBQ. You do a little Belleville Sends, a little Kingston Frontenacs, but then the voice of the Trenton Golden Hawks, like so much annoyingly so that it's about next year. And here are the prospects already. Like Zach, who cares? But that's fine. The Zach of all trades needs to continue to dip into the OJHL.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yep,
Am I right? As a new junior aficionado.
Yep.
But how many different roles even do you have on OSN? What's OSN? People are asking. It's Ottawa Sports Now. This is OSN.com. You should go to it. And you're going to have to go to it soon, because This is Wrestling is going to be directly involved with it. The Zote.
Absolutely. The Zote. Yeah, you haven't even touched on everything that I do. It's just like I'm sorry. Overview.
I'm sorry. What? Fill me in, Zach.
Well, for those that might be tuning in, we are recording on a Thursday night, or actually, no, it's a Friday night. All my days are mixed up now. We're recording on a Friday night.
And people are going, you're recording? Yep, it's right now. I'm going to tell people it's 7:07. Somebody asked me today. Somebody asked me, what are you doing? What are you doing tonight, Friday night? And I had to look them back in the eye and say, I'm doing a wrestling podcast.
With Zach McGibbon.
No, it wasn't with Zach McGibbon. It was just the fact that that's what I'm doing on a Friday night.
Yes. The Blue Jays have just thrown their first pitch or whatever. That's the time that we're recording. So it's I've got that, but upcoming this weekend, I am also a wrestling commentator, which means I've got a claim tomorrow. I just saw Lee's eyes roll when I said that. So there you go. I did see that. I saw the eyes roll on that. But yes, I am a wrestling commentator. I am commentating a claim tomorrow. Fire to the Rain is the show. So I'm looking forward to that.
Like Adele?
It is a little Adele, but if you go onto their Instagram, they're playing a remix version of it on their posts for when they announce matches.
Okay, well, who's the remix version by?
I'm not going to be honest, I don't know.
You're the Zote. You're the Zach of all trades. It says so on the screen.
Yes. Well, look. Oh, wow. You did. It is on the screen. You
I told you
on the screen. Wow.
You're the Zote, baby.
He's learning quick. Lee's learning quick how to use this software. It's like, whoa, all of a sudden I got my name changed and now I'm the Zote. It's all caps, like Kenta, but with all caps, so that's what's going on here.
It's more like Red Blacks.
Yeah, that's true. Ottawa Red Blacks. Yes.
It's why is it capitalized all that? Because that's how we spell it. Well, I'm not spelling it that way. That's the way at my former job. That's what I always used to say. Well, I'm not doing that.
yes, I am calling Acclaim tomorrow as we record, so I'm looking forward to that. When Remix runs the show as well, I'll be calling Remix. I think the next show I heard for Remix is like November, so it's going to take a while for the next Remix show. But unless they book something in between, I don't know. But every month coming down to Ottawa for the Acclaim show and calling the matches there, so looking forward to that. And what I'll also be doing this weekend is I'm going to be joining you. I'm going to go right back to the palatial estates of Ashton. That's right. I will be watching. We're probably going to be, I know for sure, watching Dynamite. I'm pretty sure we'll also balance it with watching the Sens game as well, or no?
What are we watching?
We're watching AEW Dynasty. I said Dynamite.
You said Dynamite?
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Why do you have a show that have the first letters DY and it's like Dyna? Like, you got to change it up, Tony. Or the podcasters. Think about the podcasters that are covering your show.
I was able to get it, Tony, just so you know. Yes, we will. For all listening, we're going to be watching Dynasty with a group. We're going to be doing a little pregame, postgame for the Ottawa Senators and the New Jersey Devils. And right now, as it looks, Ottawa is right on the cusp of getting into the playoffs. So a lot of excitement around the Ottawagon, which it's a good term, right? Like I
like it
all about the terms today. I got the Zote, I got the Ottawagon, but I will tell you that I did not come up with the Ottawagon like I did the Zote.
Mm-hmm.
The Zach of all trades. I'm going to say it until people just like, that's it now. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
You have this Zote, the Zach of all trades. But the Ottawagon, I did see it. I don't know if this gentleman came up with it, but I saw it on one of his feeds. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of miss this guy. I haven't really talked to him in a while. Our good friend, Matthew Reisler.
Oh, Reisler. Yes.
I believe the Bracebridge Library.
Yes.
Is it Bracebridge? Because he was in Bancroft. So
he was in Bancroft. He's now in Bracebridge. You are correct on that. He's got all those TikToks that are coming out from the Bracebridge Library. He's an incredible actor. If you've seen those TikToks, so
he's, well, he's an actor in those videos. Yes.
Yes. Incredible can take on a whole bunch of different definitions, but he is certainly acting in them.
I think the fact that the Bracebridge Library has TikTok videos that people are acting in, I think that's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets engagement.
Right?
Look, it's all about TikTok, Instagram Reels engagement. That's what we talk about here on this show. So
I think that, you know what, Matthew, you do a hell of a job. Okay. And the fact that I think he had just said something that the Ottawagon continues. I'm like, I love that term.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal it. Well, I'm going to say it and I'm going to give him the proper credit for it.
Yep.
I'm sure take it, even though he probably didn't come up with it himself either. He probably read it in some book in the Bracebridge Library. Think about what it's like, Zach, to be and he's probably not even the head of the library, but like one of the people in charge of the library in Bracebridge. It's literally the same as you being a newscaster in Belleville. It's like there's 4 stop signs. There's about 6 books in the library. So like, is Matt Reisler showing up on people's door, knocking like the book's 3 days late? What books are people taking out these days in 2026? I haven't even stepped foot in a library in, I don't even know, Zach. Like literally since university, I'm trying to think of if I've ever been in the library since.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you this here, Lee. If you come down to Trenton and you go to the Trenton Library, they have a full podcast studio set up in the library. You can record a podcast within the Trenton Library. So if you ever come down to Belleville, we'll take the trip up to Trenton. We'll go to the Trenton Library and we'll utilize the podcast equipment that's at the Trenton Library, and we can put together a wrestling podcast in there. So the library's expanding, man. Like they've got a whole bunch of different stuff that they're, putting out there now.
I want to know if there's a podcast place in Bracebridge. And I also want to correct you. Nobody goes up to Trenton from Belleville. Okay. They go down.
Fair enough. Yes.
Okay. Nobody's going north to Trenton from Belleville.
Correct. I'm so used to just living in Ottawa and saying I am going up to Montreal or up to this show or up to this. I am still not used to it. It's like, oh no, we actually have to go down. Like as the further I get into Southern Ontario, the more I have to say, oh, heading down south, heading down to Toronto or heading down to this place or whatnot. So
you're not going to go further, are you?
Oh God, no. I'm
okay.
I'm pretty happy here in Eastern Ontario.
Yeah, I feel like you're on the cusp. Like we can still consider Belleville. I think Michael Anlauer loves to call it 613 territory.
Yep.
And
big part of the branding.
Yeah. So it's just on the cusp. You start getting into like past Trenton and into those like weird discussions that we have about Colburn and Coburg and like we tell the
giant
welcome
apple that's on the side of the highway there. Yeah.
The welcome story at Port Hope. We get into that again. Like, and then you don't even want to get to Bowmanville and and Clarington. And, no.
Look, I went and saw Kerry Morton wrestle in Port Hope, and that's a story that I never thought I would be able to say, but I saw the son of Ricky Morton wrestle in Port Hope for a promotion. So
okay. I'm just so intrigued on that people need to shower in Oshawa to go to junior hockey games. I wanted you to really do a story on that.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, I saw that story, and when I was doing the out of town scoreboard for the Kingston Frontenacs later on, I said something along the lines of, oh, they are prepped and ready to go. They've cleaned themselves up and they're ready to get themselves back out there, the Oshawa Generals. And it was enough that I could hear audible laughter coming from the broadcast booth up above me. So it was, look, sometimes you just got to pop the three people in the room with you and not the crowd. Like, that's what you got to do.
You're doing community television for the OHL. If you're not popping the three people, what are you doing?
That's what it's all about. I'm reminded, I don't know if you've ever seen the clip from Kevin Nash, which, Kevin Nash could be, I'm not as big of a fan of Kevin Nash as others seem to be, but he can be very entertaining. Yeah.
I'm not either.
He's although I sometimes his sarcasm works with me, and this is coming from somebody that's like dripping with sarcasm all the time on this show. But sometimes even I find his sarcasm a little bit grating because it comes off as better than you sarcasm as opposed to like general sarcasm. Right. But I will say there's a shoot interview clip of him talking about, bleep 12,000 people in the building. You're only out there to try and pop the 10 people in the back when you're trying to do your antics out there. It's like, you know what? When you look at the latter stages of the NWO, I think it makes a lot of sense that is his mindset. So that and him making fun of Greg Gagne for Greg saying that he came up with the concept of the NWO. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip either.
I have seen that clip. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Kevin Nash guy.
No, I find he's a little too chill and laid back sometimes. It's like,
well, it's not that. Like, he was part of this big group, but let's be honest, he stunk in the ring. Like, there was never a Kevin Nash Diesel match that you were like, you know what, you got to go back and watch this. It's just incredible. Like, you would never say that.
Maybe against Brett, but only because people's like, look at how great Brett is to carry Diesel into this solid match. Like, that's usually how it goes with that. So, or Sean.
And maybe I've told this story before, but it's one of my favorites, so I'm going to tell it again. Speaking about popping people, if you're doing it on Kingston Frontenac, Kojiko, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If people have heard this story before, too bad, but I was working with, I will say an unnamed person, but I would say a very, very serious person on the news desk on CTV. I was doing sports on the weekend. And I don't know if you ever watched the late sports, Zach, but when you're doing sports on CTV News and the news started at 11:30 and the show ended about 12:05.
Yep.
and you're doing sports and you're like literally coming on I can't believe they gave me like 7 minutes, which is in TV time. That's an insane amount of time.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it really is for a newscast. Like for somebody to go, oh, here's Lee with sports, like in 7 minutes, and it started at 11:55 or something. Like,
oh jeez,
on a Sunday night going into a Monday morning. Who is watching? So I turned to my very serious co-host, who you can put it together that she went on to be on national news for quite a long time and is now very high up in the COC. So she's on the desk, and about 30 seconds before it comes to me, like, I never wrote anything in the teleprompters which would drive people absolutely crazy. I know this is a wrestling show, folks, and we are going to get to AEW Dynasty, but this is too good of a story. So I never used to write anything in the teleprompters, and it would drive them nuts because they're like, how do you know how it, the one clip's going to go into the next clip? I'm like, because I know who's on it, and I know when it ends, and I know when the next thing will begin. It's more natural to read it instead of reading it off the top. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. pops out to the center fielder. Like, come on, if you're reading it off a teleprompter. But I would never put anything in. So she was really mad about that because she thought I was inconveniencing the people in the back. I'm like, just roll the tapes. You don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, it's really not that hard.
Right? and especially the teleprompt person, who's like the youngest person there, which is one of the most important people on a newscast, to run the teleprompter properly for people who do need to read it, has like 7 minutes off of the newscast. Like, come on.
Yeah. 30
seconds before we go to air, I turn to her and I say, who's your favorite 90s band? And she's like, what? I'm like, who is your favorite 90s band? Why? No, I'm not saying. Just tell me who it is. Roxette. Why? I said, I will get 6 to 7 Roxette songs into this sportscast, and nobody will ever know but you. She's like, you wouldn't do that. That's unprofessional. Okay, well, you judge the newscast at the end, and you tell me if it was unprofessional. So they start rolling the hockey clips and then the baseball clips, and it's just, highlights of all the games. And there I go, like there's the Zote Zach McGibbon with the look to the pitcher, and boy, I wish Ben had to listen to his heart, because it would have told him that this is not the day for him. But like deadpanned.
Right.
So I get through 6 or 7, and the last one, and I knew the last one was like a big comeback. So, the White Sox were up, 5-1 on the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays, they come back, it's Guerrero, whoever it was at the time. It wasn't Guerrero, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm doing the whole thing, and I'm like, and the White Sox faded like a flower in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays come all the way back and beat them 8-6, come back on camera. And I turned to her and I said, and like whatever her name is don't want to say it, and blank, that is your look at sports. I broke her.
Yeah, there you go.
She could not even throw to break. She was crying, laughing so hard that she could not talk, and they just rolled into break. And then she got really mad at me because why, Zach?
You broke her?
Because I broke her, and because she couldn't talk. Somehow that was my fault. That she couldn't talk and she couldn't throw to break. I got through 7 minutes of sports highlights just fine.
Yeah.
But she could not, and she was so mad. And I get hauled in next, and I knew I was going to. I get hauled in by, you probably know who.
Yes.
One of the big bosses of the newsroom downstairs for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what happened? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I heard that blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, did you watch it? He's like, no. I'm like, so you're hauling me into a meeting about something that you didn't watch? I said, just watch it. Just tell me if I'm like, if you don't know the story.
Yeah.
No, I said, if you don't know the actual story of like the exact details, please just watch the newscast. You know what? He watched the newscast. Free to go. Fantastic.
Awesome. Glad we had this chat.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a crowning achievement because nobody broke this woman. Nobody could break this woman.
Yeah.
Oh man, did I feel good about myself. Even knowing 6 or 7 Roxette songs without having to look them up.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty impressed with your Roxette's knowledge. I was like,
yeah.
I know the look. That was the one that I was thinking of. The other ones, I'm like, oh man, I was more shocked. That's her favorite, 90s band, or I guess they're more of a duo.
Like my age.
Yeah.
Right. So she would have been in her 20s during that time. And
fair enough.
Like, I don't know, Zach, like, what's your favorite 90s band?
Well, look, I'm such a big Ace of Base guy there, Lee. I mean, go out there and get all your Ace of Base songs out there.
Yeah. Other than The Sign, give me another one.
That was the one I was going to go with.
Yeah. No.
So you got me here, Lee. I'm on the ropes. I'm bobbing and weaving over here. Let's go with CNC Music Factory. That's the next one I'm going to go with here.
You have no clue what song number 2 is for them. No clue.
I don't think a lot of people do. Period.
Yeah,
so.
I would agree.
Yeah.
With Ace of Base, I think you could get 3 or 4 of them, but not with CNC Music Factory. But I was lucky because I think if she had said something that was like a band that I really didn't know, then I would have gone, oh, okay, and just done the sports.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but it was like, oh man. I knew 5 or 6 like right off the top of my head. Fantastic. Must have been love, Zach. But it's over. But it's over now.
There you go.
I got that in at the end of a highlight too. Yeah, no, so good. AEW Dynasty coming up. So I'm just gonna like head right into it. 23 minutes in, I'm just gonna head right into it.
Yep.
So Kyle Fletcher hurt and had to vacate the TNT title. And at the pay-per-view, Rogers Arena in Vancouver coming up on Sunday. This card is a stacked card. Stacked card. So I'm just going to run it down for people, and then we can get into some of the matches. Headlined, of course, by MJF and Kenny Omega. One-on-one for the AEW World Championship. I wanted to get that Kyle Fletcher news out because there is a Casino Gauntlet match. Tommaso Ciampa, the number 1 entrant, Roosh, the number 2 entrant, and then everybody else TBA. After that, for the vacant TNT title, news is right now that Kyle Fletcher will be out a few months, but should be back for All In, which is fantastic news for him. Chris Jericho makes his return, and he will face Ricochet. The Young Bucks against Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita. Fantastic.
Yes.
Tekla goes up against Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship. Andrade Darby Allin. And I believe if Darby Allin wins, he receives a future AEW World Championship match.
Correct.
For the Continental Championship, Jon Moxley and Will by God Ospreay. And for the World Tag Team Championships, FTR against Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Cope and Cage with your boy Stokely by the side of FTR. And I believe on 0 Hour, Alex Windsor and Marina Shafir will fight. I don't know of any other matches. I think that's the card. You go up and down that card, it is a pretty stacked card for Dynasty, coming off what I thought was one of the best pay-per-views I have seen in a very long time in Revolution last month, hoping that they can follow it up. Just going to start in the middle. I want to start with the Kyle Fletcher news.
Sure.
He being out and the vacant TNT championship. I have a couple of thoughts on this, but I would love to hear your analysis of where you think they're going to go for somebody to take over the TNT championship as of Sunday night.
Yeah, I guess in reference to that gauntlet match, first of all, tough news to hear about Kyle Fletcher. Like you mentioned, if he is going to be back for All In, at least that there's a glimmer of hope at the end, that he'll still be there for the biggest show that AEW does each and every year. So that's good for him that if he's able to get on that path to recovery. Somebody that is going to be a loss because of just how high his in-ring ability is and how much he has been all over the TV. And so tough to see that there. This is very clearly, to me anyways, obviously they weren't expecting Fletcher to be out and to be out that long. So those gauntlet matches are kind of a good way for them because it's something that's unique to AEW, while also if something like this happens, they can put a title up on the line and they can get a bunch of competitors in there and try and get people going after the belt. It's a very simple story that you could do, and then it'll buys you a little bit of time to be like, okay, how are we going to move forward with this over the next little bit now that our plans are kind of changed up here? So,
and just to reiterate before your thoughts on some of the entrants, I still love the idea, and I will put them over every time they have one, that they have matches beforehand to gain the number 1 and 2 positions to make them important, because unlike the Royal Rumble or anything else, this match can end at any time. So we know that Tommaso Ciampa and Rush are the first 2 contestants in. If Ciampa pins Rush, the match is over. And nobody else gets to come out to try to win the TNT championship. I still don't love the fact that we don't know sometimes how long they get. I felt like last time they had all these matches for the 1 and 2 spots. They come out and like 30 seconds later, guy number 3's out.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why did he even have nobody's going to beat the other guy in 22 seconds. So I would like to see it played out a little. I'd like a tiny bit of a tease that the match could be over. And one of these times I'd like them to pull the trigger on the match being over. Like by number 3 or number 4, and the rest of the guys do not get to come in. So I have what I would call a favorite and a dark horse. But I want to hear the Zoats, the Zach of all trades opinion on this first.
There you go. The Zoat. I'm still trying to get used to with the gimmick. It's like I just been pitched it in the creative meeting. It's like, okay, Zoat, that's going to be my character. How do I work with this?
I've been stronger with this pitch than Road Dogg ever was with any idea he ever had.
That's true. Fair enough. But I don't know. It's fine. Just don't even talk to me. I don't even want to. But yes, so I mean, the easy one to say right now is Ciampa in terms of going back to the TNT Championship. At least for me, I know he's won it before, but I think that's an easy spot that they could go into and rekindle that, because I think a lot of people.
I was just gonna say, is that who you think's gonna win?
He's a favorite for me. It's kind of up in the air for me in terms of the TNT Championship competitors, but I mean, when he got the belt, it was something that I think a lot of people liked, that little reign, and he made it something of his own. And as soon as he got into the company, so I think that's a path that they could go down to. I know he's already announced, I know he's number one or whatnot, but that is something that's a path that they could go down here if they wanted to. That's an easy path for them. I don't really have a dark horse in mind, but
okay, good. Spoiler alert: Ciampa's not winning the title.
There you go.
Okay. See, this, folks. We're already preparing ourselves for the Zote to be spread too thin. The Zach of all trades spread too thin, and this is a bit of a Jack Perry pick. Okay,
is it?
Yeah, Tommaso Ciampa is not winning the TNT title. So I will tell you who the favorite is.
Okay.
And then I will tell you the dark horse. I will tell you, to me, the favorite is somebody that you have not seen in a while.
Okay.
I think he's the favorite. Zach, where's the pay-per-view?
It is in Vancouver.
Who's from Vancouver, Zach?
Lee, I think I know where you're going. There's a certain man by the name of Kyle O'Reilly that is from Vancouver.
Kyle O'Reilly. Funny, AEW's been putting up some clips recently. Oh, remember this from 2024 Dynasty? Match of Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly.
Yep.
Kyle O'Reilly is healthy. Kyle O'Reilly, unfortunately, his father passed away about 3 weeks ago. And he has been in Vancouver. If you follow him on social media, he's been in Vancouver, on Vancouver Island. It just, to me, is too... The stars are aligning for Kyle O'Reilly to come back, be a part of the conglomeration. He can be at odds with Roddy if he wants to. I really would like Roddy to win this title, but I don't think so. I think we could see some like different appearances by some guys. We haven't seen Mark Briscoe in a while.
Yep.
And he's right in that TNT mix and always a guy that you can put in. I wouldn't hate if Roderick Strong won this match. But here's my dark horse. My dark horse is the new Reign and the new thundering back to the front of the herd. Hangman Adam Page.
Ooh, okay.
Comes in. Nobody has seen him, talk to him since he lost to MJF. He comes back. He wins the TNT championship. And he takes it to another level and does not relinquish that title for a while. And we start to see Hangman back in very meaningful matches and kind of starting his way back to how do they get out of, he makes the TNT title bigger than whatever other title. It looks like we should get we'll talk about this in a minute when we talk about Moxley and Ospreay. But what do you think about Kyle O'Reilly or Hangman Page winning this belt?
I like the Kyle O'Reilly. I wasn't even thinking about Kyle O'Reilly. So I'm going to play my redo card here. I'm going to pull back on the Tommaso Ciampa pick. Not because of the comparison to Jack Perry. I think that's a little extreme. Nothing will be as bad as that Jack Perry pick. I mean, that is
I
just...
can't wait, though. So I can't wait, though, as you redo this pick that Tommaso Ciampa wins the match, and you will have officially not...
yeah, that would be a very Zach McGibbon thing to happen. It's like, oh, the guy I even picked that I took away eventually won. I like that O'Reilly thought, though. I did see that one interview. It was literally the only time I really thought about Kyle O'Reilly was I saw there was like a quote that he said that, I'd love to be at Vancouver. Literally said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hope I could get onto the show. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They're like, okay, well, he's going to make an appearance somehow, some way.
And now they have the ultimate reason to bring him back.
Yep. And put the belts on him. And it could pay off as well. Like, I thought he had a great showcase against Jon Moxley before he, took time off as well. They were really showcasing him highly. So I think it makes a lot of sense for it to be him. So I am going to rescind my Tommaso Ciampa pick because I do think he's still a favorite. But I'm not doing that as a cover my basis or a deal. I do find him an intriguing contender here, but I am sold on the Kyle O'Reilly pick. Hangman's an interesting one as a dark horse because the other one I was going to throw out there was as another guy we haven't seen in a while since he had a big loss to the challenger to the AEW World Championship, and that's Swerve Strickland. And I was like, we haven't seen from Swerve in a while, and if they really wanted to make it seem like it's a big title that people are competing for, if you have Swerve in there as sort of a reset for him, like that's somebody that could at least compete in there, and he doesn't even have to take the pinfall loss or anything like that, and it would still mean something. So
I love that idea, especially because if Hangman ever came back, you could have a feud for the TNT title with that.
Yep.
I think this is a blessing in disguise to get Kyle Fletcher into the world title picture, honestly. Maybe they had plans for him here, but when he gets back, he's too good and put him up in the title picture. So I love the Swerve Strickland angle. I would have thought, like, to me, that somebody from the Don Callis family could have won it, but like all of the main people, like I don't need Lance Archer, I don't need El Colon, I don't need Hechicero,
Rocky Romero.
I don't need any of those guys taking it. And Okada and Takeshita are already wrestling. Andrade is wrestling. So, I mean, you could throw out Orange Cassidy as another guy who took the international title and did a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to reheat him, I think you could always do it through a match like this. So, I like the Swerve idea a lot. It kind of feels like this TNT title, though, should be in the middle of all of this Don Callis family against the conglomerate, because there's just so many guys in there. If you wanted to bring back Briscoe, if you really wanted to elevate it, Hangman or Swerve would be two contenders for it. But I have to say, I'm sorry about the news because I love watching Kyle Fletcher wrestle. I think it's a blessing in disguise that he's going to get up and be in the main event picture. But I'm really looking forward to this match. I think there's a lot of intrigue to it as to who's going to come out the TNT champion. And I love that because it could be Ciampa. It could be someone we're not thinking of. It could be Swerve. It could be... Kyle, I would love if it was Roddy. I think that would be awesome. So just a lot of options, which is great. So let's talk about Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay for the Continental Championship. The Continental Cup was recently trademarked by AEW. My first question is, do you think they will get rid of the Continental Championship and have it be more like the G1 and be sort of a cup? Could it be defended or put up as a prize? I guess it could.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you like this Continental Championship as another championship in AEW?
If there weren't other championship belts, I would really like the Continental Championship belt, because one of the things we always talk about with these belts is if you're going to introduce a new belt, what is going to make it stand out from the others? And at least with the Continental Championship belt, you at least know that it stands out because there's a certain set of rules that you have to follow in order to win this belt, and a bunch of different wrestlers have competed for it. So I think in that sense, if there weren't these other championship belts, I would have been a little disappointed that they would revert to a cup if they are going to revert to a trophy sort of style. But knowing how many belts there are in AEW, I think having a cup, having this, not championship, but having this G1 style, trophy that you could win, and that could be symbolic of a future title shot, I think could work great. I think one of the things too with that is, one of the things we find with pro wrestling is that the only thing that would go against it is that a lot of pro wrestling right now kind of feels the same. Like there's a lot of homogenization of pro wrestling right now. And so I do kind of like that with this tournament, that it's something different, that they are competing for a championship belt. But having said that, I do like having, just from a familiarity standpoint, I do like having some sort of a cup, and that could be symbolic of the tournament itself, and that they can, I don't want to say cash in, but get an opportunity at a world championship in the future. So if that's something that they're planning, I don't mind it. It's one of those deals where you take away a title belt. The thing with that, though, is if you're going to take away that belt that makes it different from everybody else, you got to try and apply that same standards to some of the other championships that you have on your roster.
So ultimately, do you think that they will get rid of the Continental Championship? They will merge it?
I hope so. I thought it was merged with the international belts with Okada and being the unified championship, but that ended up not being the case. So who knows with Tony at this point? But in my mind, if there's any sort of opportunity, whether it be the international belt or the Continental belt or even the TNT championship to an extent, like if there's any opportunity to kind of merge these belts, I'd be all for it.
So to me, and you can disagree, to me, this feels like Will Ospreay is back. Will Ospreay is out to get his revenge on Jon Moxley, who put him out for a very long time. Will Ospreay, I believe, should be on the path to being in the main event of All In. And Will Ospreay would have a chance to win the Continental Championship, wrestle in some matches to lead up to that, where he doesn't have full interference all the way to All In, and then can combine the championship, or say that that match is title for title when he's wrestling for the world championship, and whoever wins gets both. And when the winner gets both, they get rid of the championship and they come up with a cup in the fall. Mm-hmm. That's how it feels to me, like how this story goes. So I guess what I'm saying is I think Will Ospreay is winning. What say you?
I think he's winning as well. I think this is part of the return story. What I like about this story that they're doing with Moxley and Ospreay is that, sometimes we critique where it seems like babyface and heel roles are kind of switched off and it makes it feel odd. But in this case, it's switched, but it makes sense that it's switched. Where normally you don't see the babyface beating up on a guy after a match, because that's a very heel tactic. But you saw that this past Dynamite where they won the Chaos in Canada match or whatever. You saw Ospreay, even after they won, you saw Ospreay going after Moxley, beating him up. But you can root for that because those guys took him out of action for many months. And you're like, these guys took away months of his career. And so you could at least sympathize with Will Ospreay. Plus, there's been the tinge of babyface elements that you've been seeing with Jon Moxley over the last little bit. It's been played down a little bit in this feud, but that's still kind of there. Of Moxley saying, I don't want to make this personal with you. This is just, purely business. So I like that it's kind of a different dynamic, and these two are very skilled workers to be able to pull it off. So in all that and explaining like how I feel about the story and how it's been playing out, I think these two are going to have a heck of a match. I've seen these two have incredible matches in New Japan. These two have great chemistry. I think it's going to be another one of those matches, especially with this style of match for the Continental Belt. It wouldn't shock me if this ends up being the match of the night. And people know how I feel about Jon Moxley. I feel like that guy has been, like, even at his best, he feels underappreciated. And Will Ospreay is one of the best wrestlers, if not the best wrestler in the world. So you combine that together, I think this is going to be a hell of a match. I'm really looking forward to it. And I do think Ospreay is going to win the belt here.
My only concern that I brought it up before, which do you think it would hurt Will Ospreay if he was going into the main event scene or the main event title picture at All In, carrying a belt that can have no interference, have nobody at ringside along the way as he's trying to achieve that?
Explain that a little bit, because I'm trying to think of the thought process here.
Well, the thought process is that Will Ospreay is then going to go up against whoever for the world title.
Right.
And in every match he has, no interference can happen. Nobody can really run down. Those aren't the rules. So how do you build a feud with Will Ospreay against MJF, Kenny Omega, somebody else maybe? How do you build that feud with every match that Ospreay has? No one can come in, no one can interfere, no one can do anything because of Continental rules.
Right. I think there's a way. I mean, it doesn't, like, some of the greatest pro wrestling matches of all time didn't have any interference or run-ins or whatnot. So I'm sure there's a way when it comes to the Continental Belt. It's I think I get the thought process because Will has the United Empire with him too. So they've established like that's carrying over into AEW programming as well. So but I do think there's a way that they could do it. In fact, I think that could make it a even more unique path for Ospreay to get there if he is going to be in the main event of All In later on.
And it's not that far away because I was out with the super fan watching AEW Dynamite, and he said it as it was happening, and it's hard not to think of it. He just kind of said at first that this is leading to what do they call Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing.
Yep.
The United Empire against the Death Riders, which you wouldn't have to defend the belt at that point anyway. And then maybe there's just not a lot of like true defenses of the Continental Championship before we get to All In.
Yep.
Because we've got the pay-per-view now, the Double or Nothing's at the end of May. And then how many shows do they have in between Double or Nothing and All In? Like you're not going to get a ton. Yeah, you're not going to get a ton of Will Ospreay defending the Continental Championship where nobody can come down and nobody can interfere. I mean, I guess they could come down afterwards anyway if you wanted to do that. I just wondered if it would hamper getting in the way of a feud for the world title. That's all. But I still am going to pick Will Ospreay to win. Andrade and Darby Allin. And if Darby Allin wins, he's going to receive a future AEW World Championship match. How do you think this one's going to go?
It's interesting. They've got Andrade pushed pretty heavily on TV. And Darby's always been a mainstay figure. I wanted to throw this idea out there when it comes to Darby Allin, because I think like last year, I think he's a wild card dark horse in the world title picture coming up. And I know that the reason why I throw it out there is because I think we're so set in stone on Will Ospreay going to All In and challenging for the belt or being the champion or some sort, but being involved with the world championship in some sort of way, that I think we forget you know what MJF has been doing every time he's had the belt and every time he's done interviews and whatnot. Every time he talks about Darby Allin, he talks about how he beat him with a side headlock takeover and pinned him, right? And how he was able to get past that. We know from last year that storyline with the Death Riders, Jon Moxley at All In, that was not meant for Hangman Page or even Will Ospreay when they were doing that tease during the Owen Hart tournament. This was something that was built for Darby Allin. You just saw all the story beats of like it was going to be Darby Allin that was going to be fighting off against the Death Riders. And so I bring it all up because I think Tony has been itching to try and pull the trigger on some sort of big Darby Allin winning the world championship moment, whether it be at a pay-per-view or even at All In. We know from last year that, you know, that was something that was at least thought of before they had to pivot and go to either one of Ospreay or Hangman because those were the better options at the time in terms of people that were over. But we also know with Tony, he likes to reward people for loyalty to the company and for, you know, being in the company for so long. So I wonder if Darby Allin is kind of a dark horse in this, because I thought that promo he cut on Dynamite this past week talking about how like going after the world championship, like he's done all this stuff, but he wants to go after the world championship. And then you got this title opportunity. MJF is the world champion right now. Is that a potential, you know, I don't want to say cog in the wheel, but is that a potential, you know, wild card here where Tony wants to finally pay off a big Darby Allin win? And I'm not saying Darby wins and he goes on this lengthy title reign either, but I feel like that's something that's kind of like burying underneath. And I think sometimes we forget how much Tony really likes having Darby on that roster and how much he wants to do stuff with him.
Okay, so you answer your own question. Do you think Darby Allin's going to win the world title before All In, or be in the main event of All In?
I'm thinking no. Like if you ask me today, I'm saying no. But it's interesting how it's just playing out on TV. It's just an observation for me where it's like, it was one of those things, Lee. I sat back and thought about it. I'm like, man, every time when Tony has the opportunity to put over Darby Allin, he always puts him over very, very strongly. Yeah. And then the story that's been done with MJF, he's been continuing to put that over. And then everything, you know, from last year as well. I'm like, man, he's always kind of in the mix. He's always some sort of a fixture. And even with the Sting stuff too, a couple of years ago, Tony relied on Darby to be involved in that tag match with Sting in his retirement match in a main event. And it worked out on both ends because, you know, Darby got the rub from being with Sting, and Sting also got the rub from being with Darby and being in a tag match and having these, you know, killer matches for a guy who was 65 and near the end of his career. So to answer the question that I put out, and then you telling me to answer my own question, I don't think he's main eventing All In, but I'm throwing that idea out there because I really don't think it's that far-fetched to think. Like maybe we're just so locked in that Will Ospreay's going in that they're trying to do something different on the other side. I don't know. It's just something that kind of intrigued me with him.
So I don't disagree that they've pushed him heavily back in and that he could win this match, get a number one contender shot and pick his spot. I just don't think that comes near All In. Like if they do not have Will Ospreay as the challenger going in and finally winning the world title of AEW in London at Wembley, they're idiots. Like they would get, for me, I'm sure it would be better than the WWE and some of the matches. And like, sometimes they do pivot and make decisions, but to me, it would be like, this is Cody in the WWE. Maybe there's a blessing that Will got hurt and it got them away from it, but Will Ospreay should already have the world title. And the fact that they didn't give it to him last year and then he got hurt afterwards, like they're doing everything they can to use Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to promote All In. Like I'm just on AEW's page right now just to look to see if they had anything announced as pay-per-views past Double or Nothing. They don't have anything on their site past May 30th, except for the big All In, and there's only one guy on that poster.
Yes.
and it's
Will Ospreay.
and it's Will Ospreay. Like for all the other shows, the Dynamites, the Collisions, like Double or Nothing, there isn't a guy on. There's just, a bunch of New York City, because it's going to be at Queens at Louis Armstrong Arena. But for every other show, they have multiple people on the poster. For the All In show, there is Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
So I I can see Darby Allin winning this match. I can see him going on to challenge throughout the summer, but I think they'd be stupid to put the title. It's whether it was his time before and he went to climb Everest, and I don't know, but it's not his time right now.
Yep.
And I know that you're right. The loyalty, you're absolutely right. That's how Tony Khan likes to operate. But this whole story is Will Ospreay's story now, from coming back. This will be his, if he beats Jon Moxley, that's a huge win. And then going on to be the challenger at Wembley at the end of August. This is his time. So I just don't see anything getting in the way of that big picture. Whether they do some small picture stuff with Darby here along the way throughout the summer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, possibly. But this is an intriguing match because they have pushed Andrade heavily. Is this the beginning of the decline where Andrade loses and Zach McGibbon, the Zote, says, I told you, now we're going to see Andrade's attitude.
Yeah.
Is this the beginning of that? Or does Andrade get another big win over Darby Allin and they kind of continue the feud because he took something away from Darby Allin? It's an interesting match.
Yep.
I don't know who's going to win. Like, I thought Darby because of the stipulation, but man, they have pushed Andrade hard here. So I think I'm still going to stick with Darby, but I'm not feeling ultra confident about it.
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit more confident than you in that I think it's going to be Darby. Okay. But I mean, it's a testament to good booking. No matter what, listening to Vince Russo and Jonathan Coachman talk to Tony Khan in his interview, and them saying you're getting a masterclass on how the business is run, the way that they were just talking on the podcast. I know that they learned a lot from those two, I imagine. But I think Tony Khan's a pretty solid booker. And I think this is just well booked. You push a guy, you give him some wins, and then you create a matchup here where you got two guys where you don't really know where it's going to go at the end. I think that's pretty solid booking. I don't know if that's from, again, the master class he had learned from Jonathan Coachman.
Okay.
And,
all right.
I'm just saying that's how they were explaining it. And
I think the coach does a pretty good job of being very fair as an ex-WWE employee, because there are other ex-WWE employees on there that do not call it
how they see it
unbiased. And I feel like the coach does.
The funniest part of that interview before we move on was they were asked about authority figures in wrestling. And Tony put the question back on Vince Russo. It's like, well, you used to be an authority figure in pro wrestling. Like, how do you kind of view going into that role? And Vince Russo said, well, bro, I didn't really like doing that role. And I was like, what? What? Come on, Vince. You're the authority figure in your own company that you book right now in Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Like, don't try and get that past me. I literally had to turn my head and blind my eyes on that. But anyways.
Chris Jericho makes his return against Ricochet. I enjoyed the segment, maybe because the list came back out, but I enjoyed the segment with Jericho. And this feels like, I'm not trying to put them over too much, but this feels like good booking. This feels like this is a good opponent that can make Jericho look good when he comes back. Of course, Jericho is going to win, but like, where does he go? Who does he align with? What is the, like, where does Jericho creatively go after this? Feel like this is a good first opponent for him. There's lots to make fun of with Ricochet. So on the mic, and Ricochet can make him look good in the ring as well. So I think this is a really good first opponent. I would love for you to tell me why Ricochet is going to win.
Oh, I mean, it's Chris Jericho. The guy loses all the time. The modern day Hulk Hogan. I'm bringing that bit back. Like, let's go. He's back in the ring. It's like, oh, everybody expects him to win, and then he loses again. It's like, oh, wow, the modern day Hulk Hogan lost again. Unbelievable. And a big spot. I agree with you, though. This is good booking. This is a good first opponent for Jericho. There's going to be a lot here in terms of where they go. I thought it's funny. I thought you were going to come on here because they gave Ricochet a live mic and going toe to toe with Chris Jericho. And I was like, oh boy, is he a bad promo. Like, it's like, not in terms of content, his delivery sucks. Like, he has no energy to his promos. He's just like, you're Chris Jericho? You're a legend? Yeah, you're no longer a legend. I'm like, come on, a little bit more oomph here, Ricochet.
I know.
But I was also thinking, like, all the people that criticize Jericho, I was thinking, why isn't Chris Jericho making Ricochet a better promo right now? Like, that's also how my mind was working. But just to constantly criticize Jericho for some reason. But I look, the promo segment did what it needed to do. It was interesting, the gimmick that he's going with, in that he's taking all of his past stuff and combining it together. So he's kind of playing the greatest hits right now, as you mentioned, with the list. And also, you know, coming back out to Judas over these last couple of weeks. And I will say he's in good shape. The big thing with him, my big question will be coming into this match is, which Chris Jericho are we going to see? Are we going to see the good in-ring wrestler Chris Jericho, or are we going to see the guy that we saw near the tail end before he took the year off or whatever, of a guy that's clearly looked like he was 54 and might have been on the road with his band a little bit, and when I mean a little bit, I mean a lot, and you start to see the effects of that in the ring. But he's in great shape, and he even acknowledged in his promo some of his stuff didn't land, and some of his matches, you know, didn't land. And so this is his attempt to kind of come in and say, look, I'm committed and whatnot. That's going to be the thing, because, you know, people will hear that. And I was, you know, ragging on WWE about, you know, they're cutting the promos about how much their product sucks. And, oh, by the way, it's expensive to buy their products. So not only does the product suck, but you could also not afford it, is the story that they're going in with right now. But the big thing about that, if you're going to introduce that into the storylines, you can put it on TV. You have to come in with a wave of change and say, this is how we're going to change it. And then the fans will be able to respond. So in this case, That's what Jericho's doing, is saying, look, I acknowledge that my matches at the end have not been good. I'm going to go into this match and I will be prepared, and I'm going to go out there and have a good match. And if he goes out there and has a good match, then that's him, you know, making true on his promise. So we'll see. Again, it's a good first opponent. It's good heel in Ricochet, and he's an athletic worker. In the case of Ricochet, I'm sure he's going to get a lot out of Jericho, and I think Jericho will play ball. And so I can't wait for when he gets lots of cheers and people will go on Twitter and say, well, the reaction is not what I was expecting with Chris Jericho. Like, and I'm like, is your TV speaker off? Like, come on. Like, I know you don't like the guy, but at least be honest about the guy. Right. So can't wait for that after the show Sunday.
Yeah, I think we're going to walk away from the match going, Jericho looks a lot better and a lot different from the end. I believe that. And that's going to be helped. And I don't say a lot of nice things about the guy, but that's going to be helped by Ricochet, who's going to make him look really good in this match.
Yes. Just not on a microphone. Just please. Like, I was watching it as like, I'm like, I don't know how Lee is taking to this promo right now.
Well, Zach, it was a bad promo.
Yeah.
It was the second worst promo on the show, but we'll get to that in a minute.
But how is that Jericho's fault? Is how is that on the fault of Chris Jericho?
I would like you to explain to me how Jamie Hayter got herself a women's world championship match.
That's a great question. I don't have a rankings list to go over and be like, well, she was third, and then she won these matches that was able to put her up. So
part of a tag team. I really haven't seen her wrestle in a singles match at all.
No,
lately. But she is going to face Tekla for the Women's World Championship. I don't have a ton of thoughts on this other than there is no chance Jamie Hayter is winning, except for, I don't know. I saw some loose reports that Tekla was not in the best of mindset the other night. And I'm like, even if that's true.
I think that's a made up report. I know that report you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it probably is. But you could not explain to me if Jamie Hayter won why that would be a good decision.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I will say, I thought the promo, it's funny they were saying that because I thought she cut a great promo, Tekla. It's just like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the strip club. I'm going to put your hands on the pole and I'm going to break your fingers. It's like, awesome. Let's do that. Let's go. Like, great. I don't know why that location in particular, but all right. I'm in. I'm bought in. All right. Yeah. I can get behind this.
She's different, right? Like she comes across different. I don't find her, I find her very unfiltered in the right way. Like she's got that sort of edge. It doesn't feel like she's wrestler speak. She doesn't feel like she's going through the routine like a lot of other women do in the division, where you're like, the match is okay, but you can tell hit the spot, and they don't really have a ton of personality. Tekla does.
Yeah.
So especially she
just wants to beat people up. She just wants to beat people up. It doesn't matter where. She just wants to beat people up, and it's just incredibly refreshing. I'm glad that a wrestler wants to go out there and beat another person up, because the last couple of years I've had to deal with, oh, my hands, I can't believe my hands laid so much damage on my opponent. It's like, you're the pro wrestling business. What do you mean you didn't understand? Like, try to tell your little stories, right? So I've been having to, inundate myself with this sort of storytelling. So it's refreshing when I can watch a promo. It's like, I'm just going to break her fingers at the strip club. Why we're at the strip club, I don't know, but I'm going to break her damn fingers. Great. Incredible. I'm in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Couple of big tag team matches to get to. Let's get to FTR and Copeland and Cage, Edge and Christian for the World Tag Team Championships in AEW. I'm very much looking forward to what you think is going to happen here.
Man, I actually thought for a time, the way that it was being built up, I thought the Bucks would be included in this matchup, but they're not going with that. They're going with the CNC Wrestle Factory against FTR.
There you go.
So
CNC Wrestle Factory. Well done from the previous discussion.
That's right.
That's why you're the Zote, baby.
That's a callback right there. That's how you do a callback. So yes, it's interesting because I could see either path here. I see this feud continuing. I definitely see that. I'm leaning towards Cage and Cope winning the belts here. Okay. Canada, and I think there's going to be a feud with the Bucks coming up for those belts too. So I could see it here. I could also see FTR retaining, but it's through some sort of shenanigans, or Stoke, my man Big Stoke, gets involved and keeps the belts for FTR. That extends the feud a little bit longer. I could see that too. But it's also like, it's one of those things. They're in Canada. Do you want to get the big pop in Canada and let them wrestle, or do you want to extend it out a little bit further? I don't know. I could see it going either way. I'm going to lean towards Cage and Cope being able to get the belts from FTR. And I think it is going to lead to some sort of match with the Bucks. I could see it at All In, quite honestly, where they do a Young Bucks versus Christian and Cope match for the belts at All In.
So I think I'm leaning towards Cope and Cage as well, because I think there's more of a story to tell with them short term. I think you get to another major pay-per-view with them involved, and to keep them involved with the titles. And then you obviously you have FTR and the Young Bucks still roaming around the tag team scene, and maybe you're leading to, you know, a three-way ladder match at All In, maybe.
Yep.
But I also think that within Cope and Cage, because they've done this pretty well, where Christian is not breaking character, there is like very easily explained. There is some dissension that could happen between Edge and Christian. And the dissension between them with the belts is way more interesting than without the belts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know who they are at this point. If they just go out and lose to FTR, do they just keep coming back as the challengers? We deserve another shot. Like, why? I love Edge and Christian, but I still got to hold them to the same thing I just asked you about Jamie Hayter. I don't know what they've done to earn a tag team title shot. And if they lose here, why would they be involved again? I think the dissension between them and some of the storytelling with them could be done way better with the belts than without.
Yep.
Is there any other teams that you think could be involved in that?
In that feud with FTR, and if the Bucks were to be included, and I was gonna jokingly say Jet Speed, that just for you, Jet Speed would be involved in this feud. Try and get Kevin Knight a big spot, and Speedball Mike Bailey in there. I think it's just gonna be kept to those three in Cage and Cope and FTR and the Bucks. I don't see any other tag teams getting implemented into this overlapping storyline here for the tag belts. I really don't see any other team.
Yeah, I didn't have one on hand. I'm just wondering whether you can carry it with those three teams all the way through Double or Nothing, through the summer, and then get to All In at the end of August. Mm-hmm. Like, it's still, you know, over 4 months away, like 4.5 months away. Like, it's a long time.
Yep.
So I'm going to lean Cope and Cage, but I'm not. That's another one that to me could go either way. But you previously mentioned the Young Bucks. They go up against Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita. And they've already said that Okada and Takeshita are going to fight each other coming up at Double or Nothing for the International Championship. And Don Callis just wants them to stick together through this big match against the Young Bucks. I like the fact a lot they've already told us that they're going to fight at the next big show.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, does it feel like one of them is going to take the pin here?
Well, I was also thinking one of the things that they could do is, you know, Takeshita looks like he's going to get the pinfall victory, but then Okada steals the victory for his team. Like it's that, you know, tag in, and then he does the Rainmaker himself and he comes in and gets the victory. I could see that scenario too. And then that's where you get more of the dissension, where it's like these two guys like, hey, I was going to win this for our team. Like, and then, you know, they did the line on Dynamite of, you know, Okada being like, I'm Jordan and you're Pippin, right?
Good line.
I liked it too. Because those are two, obviously Jordan, best basketball player of all time, arguably. And then Pippin, tremendous basketball player in his own right, but it's Michael Jordan, right? And so
best number 2 guy of all time, but never a number 1 guy.
Nope, absolutely not. Nobody remembers Portland Trailblazers Scottie Pippen. They just remember Chicago Bulls Scottie Pippen. But so I think in this case, that could be something as well where they get the victory, but it's one of those like, who's going to be the one that gets the pin? And
So that's who you're picking?
I'm going to pick Okada and Takeshita. Okay. Because to me, the only reason why I'm not going to go with the Bucks beating them is because I feel like that is, and sometimes it's okay, but I feel like that story of like, oh, the miscommunication and one of them loses and it causes the bickering. I feel like it's something that we've seen so much in pro wrestling, where I think in this case, and I think the Bucks would be, game for it, where if they beat the Bucks, it's like, oh, they won, but like even after winning, their pride still can't get their pride out of the way, and both want to claim that they're the best because they beat, they were the ones that pinned the Bucks in a tag team match. You know what I mean? So I feel like that'd be a different way to kind of approach it. So I'm going to go Okada Takeshita just to spice it up and change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to pick the Bucks.
Yep.
So I think this is the first one where we're on the opposite sides of. And the only reason I'm going to pick the Bucks is because they did lose in front of all their family and friends against FTR. And I agree with you that you said that the storyline is not going to go away with the Bucks and FTR and Cope and Cage. Well, they really going to lose to FTR in front of all their family and friends at the Revolution pay-per-view and then come back and lose to Okada and Takeshita at the next pay-per-view and then say, hey, we're in line for the tag team titles? That doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bucks losing 2 pay-per-views in a row and then claiming that they're still involved in this title picture doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And I could easily explain the dissension with the fact that I think Takeshita takes the pin here. And I think Takeshita ends up beating Okada for the international title in May. And you still have the family problems, and the Bucks are back up beating a really great team in Okada and Takeshita to get back up into that tag title picture. That logically makes a little bit more sense. And I just don't know that the Bucks are being pinned 2 pay-per-views in a row. And then after not having a pay-per-view since December, and then claiming that, we're in the title hunt. Not that, I mean, I ask these questions all the time. How did this person get a title match? How did they get a title match? But it doesn't make a ton of sense to me that would happen. So I am going to pick the Young Bucks. So I am really looking forward to this. I have another. Let's talk about Kenny Omega and MJF. Okay. Oh my God, Kenny Omega's a bad promo. Like I just gotta say it. Like, I want him to be good. I really like Kenny Omega. People want to get behind him. He's a terrible promo. And whatever he did to MJF afterwards and kind of stood on him and stole the ring and the god of professional wrestling against the devil. I want Kenny Omega to be really good here. And the promo was terrible. I listened to it in the car on the way back from watching Dynamite. And then I got home and watched it again. And it was equally bad. So I present to you, Zach, another theory.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not convinced on it, but I'm starting to work myself into a shoot.
Oh boy. I love when you work yourself into a shoot. I know you sit in your palatial estates, you kick back, you kind of have the old statue pose where you got your chin on the hand and you're thinking, and you're just like, how can I change professional wrestling today? And then how can I bring it to the This Is Wrestling podcast this week?
That's pretty much it. I do wander around in the middle of that, though, and like yell and cut a promo in front of the window and yell and scream. And then I go back to my thinking pose.
Yep.
And I let it percolate. So I'm not convinced of this, but I'm going to present you a theory. I'm going to present you a theory that we're going to have a new world heavyweight champion at Dynasty in Vancouver, Canada. And that Kenny Omega is going to rejoin the Don Callis family.
Okay.
And become the cleaner again. And become the guy that doesn't talk again. And becomes the god of professional wrestling as he has been calling himself. And has Don Callis back speaking for him and becomes the heel that everybody needs Will Ospreay to have. I get that MJF is their big heel. He's their champion. Things have been great with him as the champion since he became the champion. They are more entertaining. He is one of the best parts of the program. I get all that. I'm an MJF mark. I love the guy.
Yep.
But I still project out to All In and what the main event is going to be. Crazy thought, WWE. Why don't we work backwards and know what we might be doing? I don't know, even next week or the week after, because we know what we're doing in 3 months. And we're not going to just let Rey Mysterio bow out of getting retired by Gunther and then sliding back into a ladder match because he wants to be a part of WrestleMania.
Imagine that. Brother, I'm not retiring, but I will wrestle this ladder match. Put me in this ladder match, please.
So I'm not available for Gunther. Oh, look at that. I can't be back.
After the knees extending out a little bit.
After you pick Seth Rollins for Gunther, look, I'm back.
I'm ready to go. Let's do some spots, guys. I'm looking forward to this ladder match.
I'm going to work backwards and say that I think Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, who, correct me if I'm wrong, are 1-1.
Yes.
Go for the third and tie-breaking match with Will Ospreay as the complete babyface and Kenny Omega as the full heel into All In at Wembley. Because you have to ask yourself, and I'm great with both suggestions here. What do you think as a listener? What do you think, Zach? But everyone listening, what do you think sells the most in the main event of All In? Is it MJF as the cowardly heel against Will Ospreay that will be able to verbally destroy Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay will have to get his revenge in the ring? And will it be a great match? Yes. Because MJF has proven a lot of big spots that guy's been in, and he has performed every time. But if this is like a final run for Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega is truly back, and you maybe don't have that long to do this with him, do you put Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay in the main event? The trilogy, I don't think you can do that babyface against babyface and sell the card as much. That's personally, maybe you can. I'd still love it. Any of these people I would love in the main event. But logically, this tells me that if Kenny Omega goes back to full heel, to the cleaner, and the head of the Don Callis family, you can do all kinds of things, taking Takeshita out. You can take Kyle Fletcher out if you want when he comes back and put him as a baby face in the world title picture, maybe against Kenny Omega as well. Like, you can do a whole bunch of stuff and you go into that main event at the biggest show of the year with Omega and Ospreay with the trilogy with a real bad guy against a real good guy. And see what you get out of it and give Omega like a huge run with the title. I'll tell you, I've heard Don Callis talk this past week, and he has given Kenny Omega more credit this week than I've heard him give in the last 2 years. So I guess, I mean, comment on the theory. I'm not saying that that's what exactly is going to happen. I'm working myself into a shoot.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice. You're like, the more you explain it, like, you're locked in.
Yeah. The tone has changed because now I'm selling the main event of the biggest show of the year. And what is that match? To me, Will Ospreay has to be the clear and utter babyface. He is the guy that has come back from injury. The world loves him. He's respected. He's the babyface. He's going into London. He's never won the title before. And he finally gets to the top of the mountain after neck surgery, after everything else. You need a bad guy. Now, MJF could be that guy. You can sell me on that for sure, that MJF can be that guy. But what happens if Kenny Omega loses on Sunday? Where does he go? Does he just continue to come out as a babyface and cut awkward promos that he's not really good at? And then face who? He's already lost to Swerve. Hangman's not around. If he loses to MJF, is he just getting a feud with the rest of the Don Callis family and I get Hechicero and Kenny Omega? Like, what is happening with Kenny Omega if he loses?
I would like to see telling you, Kenny Omega, Hechicero, but
yeah, okay.
Not on a pay-per-view.
Good news for you, CMLL on Fox Sports 2 starting April 24th.
Yes, in Mexico. Fox Sports 2 in Mexico. So good for them, CMLL.
Will they continue to sell out is the question. They've had a crazy amount of sellouts.
Yep.
So I guess I want you to sort of take everything that I've said and not tell me what you think is going to happen yet on Sunday, but work backwards from the main event of All In, because maybe you don't even think Will Ospreay's in the main event of All In, and then all of this goes for naught.
Yep.
I don't know. You apparently have Darby Allin and Ricochet in the main event of All In, so I didn't realize.
Well, hold on, I didn't say Ricochet in the main event.
The former national champion against the guy who's the number one contender. He'll put it up and somehow lose to Ricochet. Like, no. I want to know what you think the main event of All In is going to be, and then how they're going to get there based on what the main event here is in MJF and Kenny Omega in Vancouver.
I like your theory there, Lee. I like the idea because you want to give something for Kenny Omega after this feud. Looking backwards on All In, I do think as we record here on a Friday, April 10th, 8:33 p.m., put it on record until I change my mind.
We've missed SmackDown.
We have missed you make that sound like that's a bad thing. But I look at this and I say that I think it's going to be MJF, Will Ospreay in the main event.
Okay.
And the reason why I say with MJF is because I've noticed there are things that MJF loves to sell you on whenever you hear him talk. He's been doing a lot of media recently, very much burying TNA recently, which has been hilarious to watch. But he really, like, when he has certain opponents, he always likes to put over certain elements. When he talks about Hangman Page, is like, oh, I ended that man's chances of going after the world championship. When it comes to Darby Allin, it's like, oh, I beat that man with a side headlock takeover. And one of the things that he's been trying to establish right now with this title reign is that this is one of the best, if not the best, world championship reign in the company's history, whether you believe it or not. That's what he's trying to put out there. And one of the things he's putting out there is, I beat Hangman Adam Page on pay-per-view, making sure he never challenges me for the belt again. I think it goes a lot in his title reign going into All In if he says, I beat the god of pro wrestling, Kenny Omega. And oh, by the way, I beat the god of pro wrestling in his home country of Canada. And we know how MJF feels about the country of Canada over the past couple of years.
Yeah. So he's married to a Canadian. Yeah. I know.
Which is hilarious. It's a great bit. But over this title reign, those are the things that he puts over. I think they're building up this title reign for MJF to say, I beat Hangman Adam Page, I beat Kenny Omega, I beat all the top stars of this company, and it sets up the match with Will Ospreay. It's like, and I'm facing off against you. I'm looking to beat you in your home country. I was able to beat Omega in his home country. I was able to beat Hangman, and he can never challenge again. That sort of stuff. I think you could really build this up. And I think one of the things they want to do is make this a defining title reign for MJF heading into his title defense against Will Ospreay at All In. So while I like the idea of, Omega going back with Don Callis and you establish a new heel unit, you kind of bring it back to 2021. I think you got something new here, relatively new with MJF. That's kind of interesting and different. If you're going back to the Don Callis route, you are technically going to something we have seen on TV in the past. While it was good, that was also, it's hard to believe, Lee, but it was been 5 years ago when Don Callis and Kenny Omega were partnered together and doing the God of Pro Wrestling stuff. So I think they're going to continue on with MJF. I think he's going to win this Sunday. I think he's going to beat the God of Pro Wrestling. And I think that's going to be a bigger part of him because I think they're establishing him for that big time main event match against Will Ospreay. And then you have these two kind of face off. And I think that could be a big drawing match. And say what you want. And I said a lot about it at the time. I was there when we watched All In, the main event when it was MJF and Adam Cole. And I was sitting there with my, hands on my face being like, I can't believe we're doing this stuff here. And it's in front of 80,000 people. I think this is kind of one of those do-overs here for MJF in that sense of saying, look, this is my, established, this is what makes me MJF. This is going to be my defining, feud here. And I'm going to do this at Wembley. And I'm going to do this against one of the other top stars. So I think MJF is going to win the belt, keep the belt, I should say. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to hold it till All In too. I think it makes a lot of sense. And to answer your other question about, would a heel Omega make it more interesting? For me, I think it would be relatively the same personally, because I would love to see Omega Ospreay, just for the record. Again, I mean, those two have such incredible matches under their belt. I would love to see them have another great match in front of a big stadium like that. But I think the path is where they're going down with MJF. So I'm going to say MJF is going to retain his belt this Sunday.
Okay. Able to convert you on the Kyle O'Reilly one, not able to convert you on the Kenny Omega one.
No, unfortunately not. I like the idea. I don't hate the idea. I think you got something good here. Why would you want to throw that out just to try and get a new idea over when you've already got some momentum on this current idea based on television ratings and the responses of the shows and whatnot? So
listen, I agree with all of what you said. I really do. It's just, if you're looking at what the main event is and what can put asses in seats and you can sell around the world for people to come to London to go to that show, is Kenny Omega worldwide a bigger star than MJF? I think he is, but it's probably close because of where Omega has not been over the last year or two and what MJF has done. If that match wasn't coming up at the end of August in 4.5 months, I would totally, 100% agree with you. I'm just trying to look at it from, if you're putting the two faces and the two names, can you put MJF up beside Will Ospreay and people will pay to go to the biggest show at Wembley Stadium because MJF's in the main event? He was in the main event before, as you said. It didn't work out with Adam Cole. By the way, very, very, very dark horse. I've seen a lot of Adam Cole stuff lately. I just need to get that out. I've just seen a lot of stuff about Adam Cole recently. And if he ever came out in that TNT gauntlet, he's just one of those guys that you have no idea when he's ever coming back, if he's ever coming back. But he's been gone now a year. And people think he's exactly the same as he was when he was gone. It's kind of like the Kevin Owens thing. When's Kevin Owens coming back? I have no idea. He was in Montreal last night watching Cole Caulfield get his 50th of the year with your buddy Pat LaPrade, former This Is Wrestling guest.
That's right.
Who I caught them in the crowd right away. Sent the picture to everyone.
Yep.
But when's he coming back? No idea. Is Adam Cole ever coming back? And people are like, well, no, because he retired. Well, no, like in 24 hours, he went in the ring and was very emotional and said he didn't know if he'd ever be back because he had another concussion and he's sick of going through them. And he didn't, there's just a ton of frustration there. A year later, where is Adam Cole? I have no idea, Zach. He might be gone for another year, but could he show up on Sunday? I guess.
Can't rule it out.
And I've seen more about Adam Cole in the last week or two than I've seen in the past year. That's all I'm saying. So if you think that MJF and Will Ospreay can sell and put asses in seats and get you that 50,000, maybe more than that at Wembley for the big show of the year, okay. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be awesome. How many times they wrestled? I know they had the Iron Man match where MJF won with like a couple seconds to go. But I don't know how many other times they've wrestled. I'm trying to look it up, but
just search it up here. In terms of MJF and Ospreay, they've wrestled twice. They had the All-In match a couple of years ago, and then the Iron Man match, as you mentioned.
So they won one?
They are, as I pull it up here. I just have the match ratings. I don't have the actual result. So I'm looking it up here as we speak, but they have wrestled twice. So I believe it was the one when with the time limit, that was MJF. And then the one in All In was Ospreay.
So they wrestled at All In. Where was that match?
That was in Wembley in London.
Right.
2024.
So you would go back to that match again at Wembley at the same stadium.
I think you could pull off that match again because those two guys are at different stages of their career.
Oh, for sure. It's just, these are just questions I'm asking.
Yep.
Because if you have a big match at your biggest card of the year and you're going back to the same stadium and you're bringing that match back again, you're going to have to really sell it. So I'm torn because I believe everything that you said about MJF and them like putting all these things in his holster, that he's beat Kenny Omega and he's sent Adam Page packing, and like this is truly the most dominant run. But if the run is going to end in August anyway, it's not going to be this 2-year, 3-year run. Like if you're talking about when he won the title at World's End, coming back at the very end of December.
Mm-hmm.
So this massive dominant run that you're talking about is still only going to be 8 months long because presumably he's going to lose to Will Ospreay. So I get what you're saying. It makes sense to me. And he is kind of the hottest thing they got going other than Ospreay. So I totally buy into that. But when I look at the totality of like, well, it's just going to be an 8-month run anyway. Does he really need the next 4 months? Man, I'm 51-49 on this one.
Oh,
like because it just like Omega came out in the suit and he talked different. It was a weird promo, but
yeah,
no, he got one over on Max and he stood on his wrist and he took off the diamond ring. And it was just more of a heel Kenny Omega to me. And I don't know where they go with him if he loses. I really don't. Because he's back and people are saying, oh, he's in the best. He's finally back to what we knew Kenny Omega before. He's finally back. And now what? Like, he already lost to Swerve. Loses to MJF. What does he do after this? I don't know if I know the answer to that question. Maybe he goes. I mean, there's other guys, right? Like there's Andrade, there's the Don Callis family, but I don't know that there's like this main event picture awaiting Kenny Omega if he loses. MJF's always in the main event picture.
Mm-hmm.
MJF could just fight Darby Allin. And MJF could just do a lot of things. I wouldn't be worried about him if he lost. I get worried about Kenny Omega if he loses. Oh, Zach. Have I worked myself into a shoot or not?
Potentially you have. You've done it a couple of times. It's been very hit or miss when you work yourself into a shoot, because sometimes when you hit. But when you miss, I mean,
yeah,
it's like Zach McGibbon level bad. Like it is bad.
Using yourself as a barometer to say what's really bad.
That's right. Huh. That's why they call me the Zote, the Zach of all trades.
The Zach of all trades. Yep. We'll put that up next time. The Zach of all trades on the screen. By the way, This Is Wrestling fan. Stay tuned to the social media. Stay tuned to all of our updates. I think we're going live next week. You believe it?
I'm looking forward to that.
I think we're going live next week. And when we go live, we're going to take people's comments in the chat. This is OSN.com. Make sure you're subscribed to OSN. I hate listening to podcasters. Hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. But you're not going to know when we go live if you don't subscribe. And I don't want that for you.
No, not at all. I need you to go to that bell on the YouTube channel and click on notify me all alerts. That way you don't miss a thing when it comes to when we go live on the This Is OSN channel. I should probably put the link to the YouTube channel, on this episode if we're teasing live. I think so. We'll put it there. I know some have been able to find it on their own, so I appreciate that. But I'll start putting that now in the description where people could go subscribe to the This Is OSN channel, and they can listen to and watch us. And who knows what will come out of the pay-per-view? Maybe I'll lose my mind again. My hands will start waving around. You'll actually get to see the Zote name tag that's currently, beneath me. I had no control over that.
The Zach of all trades, baby.
That's right. And I'm looking forward to it. It's been interesting when we've been doing the pre and post game shows, who's been in the chat. So I'm wondering who's going to be able to follow us to This Is Wrestling and the live chat, and who's going to say what, because the chat could be very exciting. you never know who Lee is going to bury next. It could be me. It could be, it could be anybody. Ethan Fink. It could be anybody.
Take no prisoners.
No.
If you're in the chat, you are part of the show and you are there to be buried.
That's right.
Okay.
There's a certain standard that Lee expects in the chat is what I've noticed. He's like, whenever something's a little off, he's like, come on, you got to bring it. You got to bring it into the chat. If I'm going to call you up, I need you to bring your good stuff here,
and Zach, for the This Is Wrestling crowd, it's even more than that. I give leniency on OSN. I give leniency on post-game shows.
Yes.
But this is wrestling. This is where the brilliant minds all combine. You're not bringing half-ass stuff to that show. So no. If you're into the chat now, just to let people know, not every show is going to be live, but we're going to hopefully have a bit of a routine. And when there's live shows, I can tell you that the next recorded show, I'm not sure when it's going to be out. Probably it'll be out after this one. Into next week, WrestleMania week. But that's a recorded show after you hear this one, which is also a recorded show. But the one after, one of us looks really good. One of us does not look as good. And I'm looking forward to that. I wish that show were live. I wish we were doing that live because I would not have buried anybody in the chat. I would have buried somebody else.
I think people, whoever this person would be, if they were visible on camera, to see their despair as the show is going on and the hysterical nature of their character throughout the recording of that episode. I wish people were there to see it. And so very excited to hear when people listen to that audio as I continue to, work away at it. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't drag on too long because there's a lot of thinking and uhs and groans and banging your head against your head and just there's a lot of that going on. Yeah, it's so I'm trying to cut it down while still keeping the intent and keeping the flow going. So that's kind of in the work right now.
Don't take the heart away from it, Zach. Okay. Don't take away the essence of what that show will be.
Right. That's why I'm trying to find that fine line because I listened back to it and let me tell you, there's some people that was just berating the other person while they were down. There was a lot of yelling going on. There's some snippiness. I was listening back to it. It's like, wow, I didn't remember it being that snippy, but I was listening back and clearly this person was down and didn't want to was trying to find a way to get back up. And this person is just getting berated and
reaching out for that hand, the tag, just reaching for that tag. Kind of felt like Sid Justice just jumping down from the apron.
Yeah, hands up, just
Sorry, brother.
Yeah. And in this case, it's the squash match against Lee Scott. He just throws him over the ring just for good measure.
So remember, if you're listening right now, don't be afraid to be a part of the chat, but you better bring it because once you're a part of the show, you are part of the show.
Absolutely.
But we look forward to that because that'll be great to interact with some of the listeners on a kind of weekly or bi-weekly basis.
Yep.
As we get into WrestleMania season. And again, there is some crossover. Maybe you love wrestling and don't love the rest of sports, or you don't like music, or you don't like a whole bunch of other things that a lot of people do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just love wrestling, and that's fine.
Yep.
But if you do like hockey or football or good banter or some life talk and just a bunch of knowledgeable guys and girls,
except that one episode that will be released where it seems like that one guy was not very knowledgeable.
Yeah, but that's a wrestling show. I'm saying on OSN, if there's some crossover, if you would like to hear, we're going to do some live shows during NHL playoff games. Yep. There's going to be some daily shows on there talking about the world of sports and not just wrestling. So if you like that too, then make sure you're a part of it, because you are, I mean this, you are in on the ground floor.
It's very true.
And looking forward to being on the ground floor with the people that want to be. And then when we get to different levels, we always remember the people on the ground floor.
That's
Is that fair?
I think that's totally fair. And was been pretty impressed with the people that have followed us. I haven't been putting that YouTube channel link because I don't know where we're at that stage. So I'm going to start putting it in, but still listeners have been finding us and engaging in the chat. Like we just had a new one, the most recent post-game show. So people are following, man. So it's really cool. So now we'll put in the YouTube link at the bottom and people can join. And I'm really looking forward to going live and talking about it and interacting with people in the chat.
Zach,
I'm sure that,
we have 60 subscribers, and I know that doesn't sound like very much for OSN. We have 60.
We have not been promoting that YouTube channel actively or anything like that.
At all. I don't tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
Like I tell people a little bit about the idea of what we're doing and what's coming up a little bit, but in no way, shape, or form have I told anybody this is the site, this is where you need to go, like other than a couple of family and friends, right? Like, and there's 60 people, and when we're doing shows, I'm like, who's watching? Like, who's listening? I don't even, like, who could this possibly even be? But word travels fast, and when you're given a good product, then good equals good, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So, so put the link there for everyone to see on the This Is Wrestling crowd. I want to give a quick shout out to our man, hoping to see him on WrestleMania weekend. Still waiting. I can't believe next week is WrestleMania week, but still waiting, of course, on the Senators and the NHL playoff schedule to know exactly what we can do and not do for WrestleMania, because both things are coinciding at probably the exact same time.
Yeah.
But want to give a quick shout out to the funniest guy I know, Zach.
Wow.
Gord St. Dennis.
Yes.
Who was up doing Laugh for a Cure, and then apparently was just an absolute comedy like the next night or the night after, just doing his bit again. Why? Because he's a funny guy.
He is a funny guy.
And he's a knowledgeable guy, and he's a smart guy. And I know he's a smart guy because I got a text saying, your team won the fantasy draft, hands down, no question.
Wow.
And you know what? You know what, Gord? You're damn right.
No question. We haven't put out the graphic yet. I know you're already declaring victory. I mean, that was a foregone conclusion no matter what your team was.
I'd be embarrassed to put the graphic out at this point for you guys.
I'm waiting for that graphic. I don't know. I thought I put together, you know what it is? People are not buying in. I've been trying to sell John Moxley for so long, and they're still getting caught up in the deathmatch stuff, and it's unbelievable.
That's not what it is.
No?
No, that's not what it is.
Well, then what is it?
It's because
all I've heard is from Le Champion and Gord St. Dennis about how great your team is, and he's so good. He's so good at this draft.
Hold on. I'm showing this to you, so I can't alter it. You won the draft, hands down. I want to know what the other two were smoking.
Other two? Ben, I understand. Me? I had a great draft.
I said, LOL, even if you're kidding, I'm here for it, because his response, I'm really not, Lily. Domination.
Wow. That's
unbelievable. No, it's accurate. It's knowing what the people want. It's knowing it's being on the cusp, on the height of this business, and understanding in 2026 where we are. It's an incredible lineup.
You know what I'm noticing, though?
The World Champion, headed by Hangman Page in his 30s, headed by Roman Reigns,
who barely shows up.
Yeah, and is the biggest draw when he does every time. And he's going to
I doubt his drawing ability sometimes.
Yeah, he's going to main event night 2 at WrestleMania, the biggest freaking thing on the planet.
Hey, how are those ticket sales doing? Even WWE's telling me how bad those ticket sales are.
Yes, because they put 14 or 16 matches and outpriced themselves. That's Roman Reigns' fault, apparently. Oh, my God. My team is just incredible. And you know what? Finally, we just get some intelligent listeners, intelligent people that are part of the show, not like that other time when we went down to Toronto and a couple of people decided like, oh, I want to meet Zach McGibbon. I want to meet the Zote. So I'm going to tell him how great his team is. No, none of that anymore.
Oh, okay.
Gordon St. Dennis, all of the real minds of professional wrestling.
Hey, you know what the common thread is between Le Champion, Chris Thompson, and Gord St. Dennis?
Why don't you indulge us with some of our great listeners, and you're going to somehow berate them and put them down? Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, don't leave her stage talking about berating the listeners. Okay, look here. You know what the common thread is between the great listeners of Le Champion, Chris Thompson, and the great listener of Gord St. Dennis? Well, I always appreciate. I always have a great. They're big WWE fans. They're big WWE fans.
So what?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not buying it.
My team, Zach, on my team, I have MJF, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks. Half of my team is from AEW. Don't give me this WWE fandom stuff. They just know talent. They know real sharp minds.
I got Will Ospreay on my team. I've got FTR. I've got John Moxley. I've got Konosuke Takeshita. I've got Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heck of a roster. I've got Stephanie Vaquer. Like, I put it on the best matches, period. End of story in my promotion.
Mercedes Moné is on my team.
Well, yeah, you drafted her before me. You drafted her before me. Otherwise, I would have selected Mercedes Moné.
No, Zach, no. I'm going to stop you. Don't say that. You had ample opportunity. On my team too. You had ample opportunity to draft Mercedes Moné, and because I beat you to her in the middle of the draft, don't say, well, I would have picked her. No, you didn't pick her. That's why I selected her. You had 2 or 3 picks to draft her, and you did not.
You got a part-time guy. MJF's a great pick. It was between Ospreay and MJF for me. I was like, I'm going with a central theme. And shockingly, Gord and Chris, they don't want to go for the wrestling theme for my promotion. They don't want the in-ring for my promotion. They want to go with the characters and the wacky characters and all that. And that's okay. Still love you, Gord. Still love you, Le Champion.
Hoping to see Gord St. Dennis and Le Champion WrestleMania weekend.
Yep.
And by the way, if you are a hardcore This Is Wrestling listener and you want to possibly be invited to a WrestleMania party, then you can get a hold of us.
Ooh.
At versagelee@gmail.com or on the socials, and Zach can handle that.
Yep.
Because I don't have a day yet that's going to happen, because I don't know when the Senators are going to play a playoff game. And if they play a playoff game on the Saturday, then it might not be on the Saturday. We don't know whether it'll be an afternoon or evening game. So there's lots to be determined. So can't make any final things, but I would be willing to listen to people who wanted to come and be a part of a WrestleMania party if it did not conflict with the Senators hockey game. Man, this is another incredible, rousing show here.
Yes. This is our new bit now. Every once in a while, we're just like, let's just go 2 hours. Why not?
Well, when you're given great content and you're able to look at Zach's team and realize that while it's good, it's not quite good enough.
Look, I can accept, Lee had the better team. I can accept that. I know it doesn't sound like it right now, and I still am not 100% when I say that, but I can somewhat accept it. Okay. But handedly, resoundingly, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to accept that. like I crushed Ben's, like you and I think we can both agree. I mean, we crushed Ben's promotion. I like Ben's promotion isn't even getting off the ground the way that he drafted.
What I would do is say this. Ben was very nice to come over and be a part, not only be a part of this, but kind of come up with the ideas. You'll hear the idea that we have coming out next week. Yep. A different idea that we've never done before. Looking forward to what people think of it. We haven't done a fantasy draft before like this. And so Ben had to organize it, to come over. He kind of hosted it. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. He does a great job of like putting it all together and keeping us on his toes.
Yeah. And he should have stayed home when it comes to picking his team for sure. Or like given it to any other listener that could have done a better job. But Zach, listen, sometimes you need, like, everyone's got their role, and sometimes you need everyone working in unison to have the product come together. And we needed Ben in a lot of different roles. The content in the fantasy draft, not so much. So we just needed the accessories, right?
I knew we were in for a heck of a draft when Bro Dito was the first tag team that was selected off the board. I was like, what? Whoa.
Did you get the text too afterwards? I should have selected Protoshita or Protokata.
What?
And I'm like, no, that would not have been allowed. Like, I'm just going to take the entire Don Callis family as one member, and then I get like 16 guys.
Yeah, it's like, look, Rocky Romero is going to be a pillar of this organization here at our wrestling promotion.
I should have selected Protokata is what he said.
Unbelievable. Like, you know what? That would have been a better pick, but I mean, even then, I was like, I still would have been shocked by that pick.
I wouldn't have allowed Protokata.
Yeah,
you're not gonna get Kyle Fletcher and Kazuchika Okada in one pick. Sorry, not happening.
Could you imagine he did that like first round, first selection, like that was his first pick? That would have been like that would have been
veto.
Yeah, that would have been veto. Like not going to work for us, brother. Like that is not. No. But I'm still blown away that Bro Dito was the first tag team off the board. I didn't think Bro Dito was going to get drafted. Period. In that draft.
That's a little head over heart. But Zach, we can both agree that while there was some competition for first and second, I mean, not really, but some between you and I, that we needed somebody to bring up the rear to make us both look a little bit better.
See, that's why, because it's like, you're not going to say Rizzotti and put me in the same class as Ben's. Like, you're just not going to do that.
No, you're not in the same. So,
but that's the way that Gord like put off of that text.
Yeah,
so it's like
he did, but I think he was just trying to pump me up. But I will have to talk to him and say that it wasn't like hands down domination. What were they smoking? As much as you're saying, Gord, like maybe some of that because I'm that good, but not all of it because Zach's team is pretty good. But maybe he just got grouped in with the rest of the losers. Right?
Yeah, I just that's like completely unfair. I'll take you know what? I like this person better than the other, so I'm going to lean towards that. You know what? I could buy into that, but I am not getting lumped into Ben's promotion. I'm just not. Like I won't accept that. You mean to tell me the guy that has Will Ospreay as the face of his promotion is the one that's going to get lumped in? Not for me, brother.
If I wasn't so pumped up that I've basically won this draft, and so pumped up the fact that the last time we had one, I got buried, even though I had a good team. And you were part of the burial that I got absolutely buried when we went to All Out and we did this kind of makeshift fantasy thing on the train. Man, I got completely buried on that. So I feel really good that I've reigned supreme here. But I do think that
two people.
I do, Zach. It's about winning. No matter how many people are there, it's about winning. So I do think the difference between your and I's team, like you got a really good team. I do think the difference is Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vaquer. I like Stephanie Vaquer, but Mercedes Moné, bigger star, better wrestler, can get promos over, can speak English, can do all these things. Not to besmirch Stephanie Vacour, but I do think that there's a small gap there, and that maybe put me ahead of you. But both of us destroyed the other guy. But again, we needed a third member.
Yep.
We needed the accessory part. We needed all the intangibles to be put together.
Yep. Between our WWE and AEW, we do need a TNA in all of this. So,
you know what drives me crazy on the 24 Wrestling channel, 24/7 channel? I guess I got to get this off my chest. It drives me absolutely bonkers that they discuss NXT in the same way that they discuss AEW and WWE, for that matter. Like they're very clear WWE won on that channel, which is fine.
Yep.
And then AEW is a clear number 2, but NXT is number 3, outgaps anything else on the planet for them. They do post-game shows for NXT after dark, discussing live what happened on NXT on a Tuesday night. I'm like, are you out of your minds? Like out of your minds. And so they'll go like full hours during the day discussing NXT, and I'm out. Like I can't.
I'm not going to be talking a minute about NXT, let alone multiple hours.
No, and look, and I say this because NXT is not like a headline promotion. It is a feeder system.
Yep.
It is not even what the Black and Gold used to be, which was still a feeder system. But it was a decent feeder system that put on really good shows and really good matches. They have scaled back, and NXT is just to get people to the main roster. It's like practice.
Yep.
Don't discuss it in the same realm of like a team going out for a morning skate or competing for a Stanley Cup. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Don't treat it like the same. Drives me a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Just wondering what we can do to get past. How long's the longest one?
I think the longest one was 2 hours 21. I don't know if we'll have enough steam though. I don't know. I don't think we'll have enough steam. We were doing quite well. I was looking like, wow, I'm genuinely impressed of how often it's like, all right, I think that's the show. And then I look up, it's like, oh, we went another 25 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's our ability to just banter and talk and, you know.
Well, and we started the show with 23 minutes of pretty much non-wrestling before.
That's right. Yeah, that's just kind of how it's going. I'm not going to spoil anything, but we are recording it as SmackDown's going on, and I'm reading the quotes from this Pat McAfee promo, and I might just drive my head into a wall. So that's something to get excited about.
Do you know what the surprise is?
He is still talking as we are recording, so okay. I don't think we have an idea of the surprise.
I was led to believe that one of the big surprise tonight again was going to be, and again, this was just sort of rumor. I don't know. We're recording as it's going along, but the big surprise announcement apparently was going to be that Pat McAfee was going to be in the corner of Randy Orton. So then Cody Rhodes was going to go get Jelly Roll to be in his corner. Yeah. And then that would lead whoever wins at WrestleMania, that would lead to a Pat McAfee and Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll match at Backlash coming up in May.
Oh, here's the announcement. Here's the big announcement from Pat McAfee, just breaking.
Okay.
The big announcement is that WrestleMania 42 Night 1 tickets are 25% off. WrestleMania 42 Night 1, not Night 2. Night 1 tickets. You get a quarter of the price off. Thank you, Pat. Thank you,
That's
Pat.
the big announcement.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. Yeah. Oh, that's the
so let me get this straight. The announcement that Pat McAfee made big announcement. He had a big surprise announcement tonight on SmackDown.
Announcement. Yes.
And the big surprise, huge announcement is that on the show that he is now involved in the main event, you can get tickets 25% off.
Now through the end of Monday.
Oh my God.
I love this company.
I just don't know what to. So, Zach, I keep seeing this, that people think at some point that The Rock and maybe Vince McMahon are going to come in and they're going to be like, they're going to take this TKO thing and they're going to put it on screen, and like Randy Orton will be the champion and Pat McAfee will be a part of it. And you'll have The Rock and you'll have Vince McMahon. And on the other side, you'll have Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and who am I missing from? Oh, and Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Coming back to be like anti-corporate. And they're all going to be rebellious. They're all going to be the anti-corporate who have to take over the corporate TKO. Would that save it for you even a little bit? Because in that angle I just told you about, that would mean The Rock and Vince McMahon and Kevin Owens would all come back to be a part of it.
Well, I'm out if it's McMahon's showing up on programming at this stage. Okay. Like, I'm out.
So if it's The Rock leading TKO, because I say that because here's the thing. Last Friday, we did the show of the worst SmackDown of all time.
Yep.
Their big announcement tonight is 25% off of their biggest show of the year on night one.
Now until Monday.
I don't know what's going to save this. And I think the logical people, even if you love WWE, are like, okay, like what is the way out of this? Because let's call a spade here. As bad as it's been, the CM Punk promo on Monday was incredible. People are saying like as good or better than the pipe bomb. But if it's not better than the pipe bomb, it's up there. I think sometimes we get caught in nostalgia. This is this was very, very real. Cody Rhodes, who went into the ring after that Pat McAfee abomination last week, was very, very real. Do they do something that's anti-corporate and go up against? Would that save it for you if that happened?
Somewhat. I don't know what much is there to save from this. Like, sorry, I'm just reading through some of these lines that were said, and I'm just like, I can't believe this is, even I can't believe the WWE is allowing this to be over their screens and just cutting this promo. That Punk promo, I like that better than the Cody promo. I'm not going to go as far as say it was better or even in the same league as the pipe bomb promo, because that was kind of a different vibe and energy. This promo that Punk cut is more of a self-inflicted promo that TKO and WWE have done to themselves. So I can't really, but it was a well-delivered promo. I certainly wasn't expecting him to call out Pat McAfee, but man, I mean, the whole storyline is that this product sucks and you can't afford it. And the McAfee line, like, it's just Pat McAfee, the heel in this program. I think we can all agree. Gave the fans the 25% off discount for night one. Not Cody, not Punk. It was McAfee that did this. The heel, the guy that you're supposed to boo, and people booed it for the discount. Lee, what's going on?
It feels like another show for next week as we lead into WrestleMania.
I know. I'm sorry. I just thought it. I'm just flabbergasted.
2 hours and 15 minutes into the show.
McAfee said Sunday is ass. I was like, what? What are we doing?
No, he didn't.
He did.
Sunday is ass?
That's the quote I'm seeing.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
Hey, this product sucks. Buy our tickets for 25% off. This is so bad. Oh, God.
I should ask all these questions on our next episode, but there is a.
Oh, I can't wait to go live now. I really can't wait to go live.
After Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking right now, if you're listening to this, we're thinking Tuesday because it fits best for both of the schedules, and the Sens don't play, and they're probably in the playoffs by then. So,
yep. That's the plan.
That's the plan. All right, Zach, that's going to do it. Can't wait to catch up on SmackDown after all this, but we're looking forward to AEW Dynasty being back in the palatial estates. We're going to have a hockey game. We're going to have wrestling. We're going to have all kinds of things going on here on Sunday. And then have fun at Acclaim coming up this weekend on Saturday at the Don Polsky Hall. I believe that is sold out as well.
Yep. Just announced it today. It's sold out. So looking forward to a sold out crowd for tomorrow.
Very nice. And yeah, so we'll have a ton by the time our next show and maybe the live show on Tuesday night comes out. We'll have AEW Dynasty. You'll have Acclaim. We'll have Monday Night Raw, and it's leading into WrestleMania. That'll be good times.
Yes. Oh, this build is just. I can't wait. I can't wait for next week. This is going to be so good.
All right. Well, on that note, we will bid you adieu. Will it be Kenny Omega going out with a bang on Sunday night? We will see. By the way, Zach,
Danhausen smoke. I think that's how it's going out.
I'm just going to say it without giving you let me off without saying who was going to win in the main event, and I appreciate that.
Who's going to win in the main event there, Lee?
No, you let me off, and I didn't give an answer either way. So then no matter what happened, I would have been right.
Unbelievable. I got worked. I got worked.
I'm 51-49, but I'm going to say MJF. And the reason I'm going to say MJF is not because I'm convinced. I do think that it's possible what I said about Kenny Omega and where he might go. But if I pick MJF, also, if the Young Bucks beat Takeshita and Okada, I'm guaranteed to beat Zach again in the AEW Dynasty, which, yeah. So I probably need to stick with that. No, I'm 51-49, but I am going to pick MJF to retain in Vancouver. But looking forward to the card, another stack card. Zach, always fun with you, always lengthy. We got to carve out a lot of time for these now, but apparently the people appreciate them, and they listen to the end. And even if you have skipped to the end to say that you listened to the whole thing, we still appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And you missed a whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think people are doing that, but
not from what I gather.
Nope. And again, put the link up. Make sure that you subscribe to OSN. This is Wrestling will be directly associated with it, with all of us in the project together. So looking forward to that. Zach, thanks. This has been a lot of fun, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Safe drive up, have fun at Acclaim, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Looking forward to it, and looking forward to going live to the folks here on This Is OSN as well.
Yeah. For the Zote, that is the Zach of all trades. I'm Lee Versage. Thanks for listening to another edition of This Is Wrestling.